What's up, everybody, and welcome back into Mad Sports. Well, it's obvious that we still don't have a defensive line coach, but I've got two sneaky dark horse names that I think you guys might be pretty intrigued with, so stay tuned. Let's talk about it today on who could be our next defensive line coach on Mad Sports. Well, as we already know, there's no defensive line coach hire yet, and it sounds like Elijah Robinson is headed back to Texas A&M. So let's just kind of go over a couple of names that we've talked about previous that could still get hired as our defensive line coach. But I've got two sneaky dark horse names that I think you might be pretty intrigued with. We'll go over them right now. David Losay. He could still follow Rob Ulrich over from San Diego State. Now, how likely is that? I'm not sure, because I think if Rob Ulrich was gonna hire David Losay, he would have already done it by now. But it's still a possibility. The other name that's considered still would be Lou Esposito from Michigan. You know, with all the turmoil going on over there at the Michigan program, he would still be a viable candidate to get hired as our new defensive line coach. However, I told you that I have a couple of dark horse names, and I think that you guys are going to get a kick out of this. But hear me out. I've got some valid points as to why these names make sense. The first name I'm going to go over is Kyle Whittingham. Yes, I know, Kyle Whittingham, the current Utah head coach, the guy that we're going to be facing in the bowl game in Las Vegas. Now, I know what you're thinking. Marcus, that's crazy. That's outlandish. That'll never happen. Why would you even say that? Well, Kyle is stepping down as Utah's head coach. Now, he's not retiring. He hasn't announced that he's going to retire, but he has announced that he's going to step down as Utah's head coach. So what does that mean for him? What does that mean for his career? Well, I think it means that he wants to keep coaching, but he doesn't want all the responsibility of being a head coach anymore. So you're probably asking, well, why would that make him a good candidate for our defensive line hire? Well, because he has a ton of defensive coaching experience. Let's go through it. So he's been the Utah head coach since 2005. Before that, he was Utah's defensive coordinator from 1995 to 2004. Before that, he was their defensive line coach in 1994. And before that, he was the defensive coordinator at Idaho State from 1992 to 1993. What if Matt Rhule learned that Kyle Whittingham was stepping down as Utah's head coach and gave him a call and said, "Hey, Kyle, I heard you're stepping down as Utah's head coach after we play you in the bowl game. Doesn't sound like you want to retire. Why don't you come over here and be our defensive line coach?" Crazier things have happened. I'm telling you that right now. And Kyle Whittingham would be an amazing candidate to be our new defensive line coach. I wouldn't leave that stone unturned if I were Matt Rhule. Another unlikely scenario that could have some validity to it is Matt Rhule. Yes, our current head coach, Matt Rhule. Why couldn't he become our defensive line coach? Well, you're probably saying because he's the head coach, he has so many other responsibilities. Well, let's go through some points. Let's go through some reasons as to why Matt Rhule makes sense to be our new defensive line coach. The first point is the players want him to be our new defensive line coach. Riley Van Poppel approached him in practice and said, "Coach, why don't you do this full time?" Matt Rhule admitted when he was at both Temple and Baylor, he would go down and coach on the field offensive and defensive line. So being at Nebraska, why couldn't he do that here? Matt Rhule admitted that between him, Phil Simpson, and Roy Manning, that the three of them could easily coach the defensive line. Matt Rhule also admitted that over the last 3 years, he was so involved with all of the stuff going on behind the scenes that he didn't really have time to go and physically coach on the field. I mean, yes, he was there physically, but I'm saying like being super engaged with some of these position groups that he was at his previous couple of stops. He said with Troy Dannon being the AD, Pat Stewart handling the portal and the recruiting, Susan Elsa running the program, Corey Campbell handling the strength and conditioning, and Kristen Coggins running the nutrition, that it frees him up to do more hands-on coaching in practice. Now, that makes sense. That makes sense that he has such a good staff around him now that he can do less of the behind the scenes stuff, let everybody else handle that, and he can actually go down on the field, put his hat on backwards, put his whistle around his neck, and coach the defensive line group. Well, what's his coaching experience other than being head coach look like? Well, let's go through it right now. Matt Rhule was the defensive line coach at Temple in 2006. He was the defensive line coach at UCLA in 2001. And he was the defensive line coach at Buffalo in 99 and 2000. That speaks for itself, if you ask me. He has the experience. He can take the time to recruit the guys that he wants out of the portal before it opens up on January 2nd. And not only that, but from a money aspect, he won't have to make an additional hire. So that frees up however many hundreds of thousands of dollars to pour into the NIL. Now, 1890 is basically consolidating. It's not part of the program anymore. Like, all of the NIL is being handled in-house through the university. Troy Dannon said, "Hey, Matt, is there a world where you could coach the defensive line and we could free up hundreds of thousands of dollars that we could pour into the NIL and potentially get some more big name recruits, whether it be out of the portal or high school recruits?" I mean, we have a huge recruiting class coming in 2027. We're going to need some more money for that. Now, with Dylan Raiola leaving, that freed up, several $1 million, but we're going to have to go get at least one, if not two, portal quarterbacks. We're going to have to get a portal running back or two. This makes sense. I mean, to me, it makes sense. I think Matt Rhule could do it. I think Matt Rhule could free up several hundreds of thousands of dollars to pour back into this program. And he's a hell of a D-line coach. I mean, his track record speaks for itself. Plus, the players want him to be. So, with all of that being said, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Could it be Kyle Whittingham? Could it be Matt Rhule? Could it be Lou Esposito? Could it be David Loze? Because it's not Elijah Robinson anymore. So let me know what you think down in the comments down below. Hit the like button if you liked the video. Please consider subscribing. And if you subscribe, go ahead and hit that notification bell. That way you can get informed when more videos like this come out. I do have my donations still down in the description with my Venmo and my CashApp if you want to donate to my bowl trip. Thank you so much if you do that. But thanks again for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. God bless, and go Big Red.